This is an analysis of an electrical bid for a first-floor unit in a two-family home. The project involves wiring the unit to code minimum, with some exceptions. The floor size is approximately 22 feet by 80 feet, and heating and cooking are gas or oil. An MLO panel will be located in the unit, fed from a 60-amp main circuit breaker in the unfinished basement. The exceptions include 4 AC outlets for wall or window units, and 1 jacuzzi or hydro massage in the bathroom. There are no telephone or cable lines included in the bid. The estimated bid includes separate costs for labor and materials. Under labor, the complete gut job is not included in the bid as it is being done by others. The cost for wiring to code minimum, including exceptions, is estimated at $3,500. This encompasses all the general wiring throughout the unit, bringing it up to code compliance. The installation of the MLO panel is estimated at $600. This cost covers the labor involved in mounting the panel, connecting it to the main service, and wiring the branch circuits. The installation of the 4 AC outlets is estimated at $400. This covers the labor for installing the new outlets, including running the wiring and connecting them to the electrical system. The installation of the jacuzzi or hydro massage is estimated at $1,200. This involves running a dedicated circuit for the jacuzzi, installing a ground fault circuit interrupter outlet, and making the necessary electrical connections. The material costs are estimated at $2,500 for electrical wiring, devices, and materials. This includes all the wiring, outlets, switches, circuit breakers, and other materials needed for the project. The total estimated bid is $8,200. This is the sum of all the labor and material costs. There are several additional considerations that could impact the final cost of the project. Firstly, the size of the floor, 22 feet by 80 feet, is not specified in the bid. This could affect the amount of materials needed and the labor hours required. Secondly, the type of gas or oil heating and cooking appliances is not specified. This could impact the electrical requirements and the cost of materials and labor. For example, some appliances may require dedicated circuits or specific wiring configurations. Thirdly, the location of the MLO panel in the unfinished basement may require additional wiring and labor. This could be due to the distance from the main service or the need for special conduit or protection. Fourthly, the absence of telephone or cable lines could reduce the cost of materials and labor. This eliminates the need to install wiring and outlets for these services. There are also several assumptions that are being made in this bid. Firstly, the gut job has already been completed. This means that all the old wiring and fixtures have been removed and the walls are ready for new wiring. Secondly, the floor is in good condition and does not require any structural repairs. This means that the electrical work can proceed without any delays or complications. Thirdly, all necessary permits and inspections will be obtained by the contractor. This ensures that the work is done to code and meets all safety requirements. Fourthly, the project will be completed within a reasonable time frame. This means that the contractor will allocate sufficient resources to complete the work in a timely manner. It is important to note that this bid is an estimate based on the limited information provided. Actual costs may vary depending on the specific circumstances of the project. It is always a good idea to get multiple bids and to carefully review the scope of work before making a decision. To elaborate on the electrical wiring aspects, it is crucial to adhere to the National Electrical Code, also known as NEC, requirements throughout the entire installation. This ensures safety and compliance with industry standards. When running the branch circuit, appropriate wire gauges must be selected based on the amperage of the circuit and the distance of the run. For example, for a typical 15-amp circuit, 14-gauge wire is commonly used, while for a 20-amp circuit, 12-gauge wire is required. For the dedicated circuit for the jacuzzi, a ground fault circuit interrupter, also known as GFCI outlet, is essential. This device protects against electrical shock by detecting ground faults and quickly interrupting the circuit. The GFCI outlet should be installed in a readily accessible location near the jacuzzi. The MLO panel must be properly sized to accommodate all the branch circuits in the unit. The panel should have enough breaker slots to accommodate all the circuits with some spare capacity for future expansion. The panel should also be properly grounded and bonded to ensure safety. The wiring from the 60-amp main circuit breaker in the basement to the MLO panel in the unit must be sized appropriately for the load. The wire gauge should be selected based on the amperage of the circuit and the distance of the run. Conduit may be required to protect the wiring, especially in unfinished areas. The 4 AC outlets for wall or window units should be installed in convenient locations throughout the unit. The outlet should be rated for the appropriate amperage of the AC units. Dedicated circuits may be required for larger AC units. The lighting circuits in the unit should be designed to provide adequate illumination. The number and location of light fixtures should be determined based on the size and layout of the rooms. Energy-efficient lighting fixtures, such as LED fixtures, are recommended to reduce energy consumption. All wiring connections must be made securely and properly insulated. Wire nuts or other approved connectors should be used to make connections. Electrical tape should be used to insulate exposed wires. All electrical work should be inspected by a qualified electrical inspector to ensure compliance with the NEC and local codes. The electrical inspector will check the wiring, grounding, and bonding to ensure that the installation is safe and code compliant. It is important to address the additional considerations mentioned earlier. Firstly, the exact size of the floor is crucial for accurately estimating the amount of wiring and materials required. A more precise measurement will allow for a more accurate bid. Secondly, knowing the type of gas or oil heating and cooking appliances is essential for determining the electrical requirements. Some appliances may require dedicated circuits or specific wiring configurations. Thirdly, the location of the MLO panel in the unfinished basement needs to be carefully assessed. The distance from the main service, the presence of obstructions, and the need for conduit or protection will all affect the cost of installation. Fourthly, while the absence of telephone or cable lines reduces the cost of materials and labor, it is important to consider whether the homeowner may want to add these services in the future. If so, it may be wise to install conduit or wiring during the initial installation to make future upgrades easier. To expand on the topic of grounding and bonding, it is essential to understand their importance in electrical safety. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping the circuit breaker and preventing electrical shock. Bonding connects all metal parts of the electrical system together, creating a low impedance path for fault current. The grounding electrode system typically consists of a ground rod, a metal water pipe, or a concrete encased electrode. The grounding electrode conductor connects the grounding electrode to the neutral bus in the MLO panel. The equipment grounding conductors connect the metal enclosures of electrical equipment such as outlets, switches, and appliances to the grounding bus in the MLO panel. Bonding jumpers are used to connect different metal parts of the electrical system together, such as metal conduit, metal enclosures, and metal water pipes. All grounding and bonding connections must be made securely and properly tightened. Loose or corroded connections can increase the impedance of the grounding path and reduce its effectiveness. When installing wiring in the unfinished basement, it is important to protect it from physical damage. Conduit or other protective measures should be used to prevent damage from impact, moisture, or rodents. The wiring should also be supported properly to prevent sagging or strain. In addition to the NEC requirements, local codes and regulations may also apply. It is important to check with the local building department to determine the specific requirements for electrical installations in the area. The electrical contractor is responsible for obtaining all necessary permits and inspections. The permits ensure that the work is done to code and meets all safety requirements. The inspections verify that the work has been completed properly. When selecting an electrical contractor, it is important to choose a licensed and insured contractor with a good reputation. Check references and reviews to ensure that the contractor is qualified and reliable. Get multiple bids from different contractors to compare prices and services. Review the bids carefully to ensure that they include all the necessary work and materials. Be sure to ask questions and clarify any concerns before signing a contract. The electrical contract should clearly define the scope of work, the price, the payment schedule, and the completion date. It should also include provisions for changes or unforeseen circumstances. It is important to have a written contract to protect both the homeowner and the contractor. During the electrical installation, it is important to communicate with the contractor regularly. Discuss any questions or concerns that arise and stay informed about the progress of the work. Inspect the work periodically to ensure that it is being done to your satisfaction. Upon completion of the electrical installation, it is important to obtain a certificate of occupancy from the local building department. This certificate verifies that the work has been completed to code and meets all safety requirements. Keep all documentation related to the electrical installation, including permits, inspections, contracts, and warranties. This documentation will be helpful for future reference and for any potential warranty claims. Regarding specific NEC articles, several are relevant to this project. NEC Article 210 covers branch circuits, including the requirements for the number and type of circuits, the ampacity of conductors, and the overcurrent protection. NEC Article 220 covers branch circuit, feeder, and service calculations, including the requirements for determining the load on the electrical system. NEC Article 250 covers grounding and bonding, including the requirements for grounding electrodes, grounding electrode conductors, and equipment grounding conductors. NEC Article 300 covers general wiring methods, including the requirements for the installation of wiring in raceways, cables, and other wiring methods. NEC Article 310 covers conductors for general wiring, including the requirements for the ampacity of conductors and the insulation types. NEC Article 406 covers receptacles, cord connectors, and attachment plugs, including the requirements for the type and location of receptacles. NEC Article 408 covers switchboards, switchgear, and panel boards, including the requirements for the installation and wiring of panel boards. In relation to the jacuzzi installation, NEC Article 680 covers swimming pools, fountains, and similar installations, including the requirements for the electrical safety of jacuzzis. It is important to be aware of the arc fault circuit interrupter, also known as FSI protection requirements. FSI breakers are designed to detect arc faults, which are a common cause of electrical fires. The NEC requires FSI protection for most branch circuits and dwelling units. It is also important to consider surge protection. Surge protective devices, also known as SPD, protect electrical equipment from voltage surges, such as those caused by lightning strikes. The NEC recommends surge protection for all dwelling units. When installing electrical wiring, it is important to use the correct tools and equipment. Use insulated tools to protect against electrical shock. Use a wire stripper to remove insulation from wires without damaging the conductors. Use a voltage tester to verify that circuits are de-energized before working on them. Use a circuit finder to identify circuits. In conclusion, this electrical bid analysis provides a comprehensive overview of the project, including the scope of work, the estimated costs, the additional considerations, and the assumptions. By carefully considering all these factors, you can make an informed decision about whether to proceed with the project. Furthermore, it is crucial to choose a qualified electrical contractor to adhere to the NEC and local codes and to obtain all necessary permits and inspections. This will ensure that the electrical installation is safe, reliable, and code compliant.